That's it. You got it. You can come to work next week.
All right. I will be here, Bob. I will be here.
I know we have made our mark in Los Angeles indirectly. There are a lot of people that have passed through these doors and are beginning to come back again and say hello. Thank goodness. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to expand them. I'm hoping we can eventually do even bigger type of things here. I'm hoping that we'll have a school which will teach children and adults puppetry, along with being able to do it on film, on video type thing.
I understand it hasn't been all fun and games just to even maintain the theater here. You've had a couple of ups and downs, and I think we were almost close to a point where it was almost about to shut down.
Well, we've been on a pogo stick, believe it or not. We're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. I try to go along.
Up, right?
I try to go on a pretty level thing in between it all. It takes a lot of money to maintain a puppet theater of this sort. We used to figure it was about $30,000 a month to keep it open. Now it's gone up to $50,000, $60,000, and we're not making it. Basically, the children, we let them come in from the schools at a cut price because they can't afford a higher price. We've had to raise our admission prices to the theater just recently. I said, do we dare? They said, you don't have to do any daring, we've already done it. And I said, oh gosh, I hope they come. Well, they're coming still. Maybe not in droves, but they do come. We have been the best held secret in downtown Los Angeles for the last 50 years, believe it or not.
That smells like wintergreen! Oh yeah, that's a type of peppermint. Did you know that? No? How about spearmints? Oh, you're just ready to have one, aren't you? Maybe you want a kiss. Guess that makes you my girlfriend. Let's see. That was a good one. That's a little bubble gum. Sorry, I didn't get it in your hair. Don't worry. And then we'll just follow up with a little cantaloupe. And how about a little watermelon? Let's see. How about this one? Ooh, this smells meaty. Polish sausage! Here we go, guys.
How can the public show their support or come out and be a part of this, or just be able to?
Well, there's 3 or 4 ways. One is to call up and make a reservation. You can do it on the internet. You can also call us and attend a show. That helps us, and that helps the Bob Baker Marionette Theater part. Also, you can make a donation to the theater if you wish, which we'd love. And we are getting we also have a non-profit corporation, which all of this is listed, I believe, on our website.
Marionette Theater has been a Los Angeles institution for 48 years. To find out about attending a show or having a show come to you, check out the website at www.bobbakermarionettes.com.
As many people that come through the doors and people that even just come in to take a look at the space always say, this has a great feeling.
And a great reputation. The Falcon Theater, founded by television and film award-winning director Gary Marshall, continues to bring life to some of the most dynamic stage performances in Los Angeles.
Well, you know what? I really enjoyed this last one that we closed our season with this last year. It was called Everybody Say Cheese. And it was the one that was written by Gary Marshall.
Okay.
The cast was so fantastic. And it was a comedy, but it was so touching. I love plays that have a real arc.
Mr. Marshall built the Falcon Theater in 1997 with his daughter Kathleen, launching what has become a mini family empire.
This is a small family-run business, and it's very much that way. It's very family, very hands-on, and it is just a very small company. It's a very small staff. The stage is almost as big as the theater seating area. We have 130 seats, so it feels very intimate and comfortable. Every seat's a good seat. We don't have one core company of actors, and we don't have one artistic director. So when you come to the Falcon, you're always seeing something different.
Fellowship, a musical parody of the Fellowship of the Ring, directed by Joel McCrary, was recently featured at the Falcon Theater.
It's a great space. It's a great location. I've worked with Gary Marshall before, so I kind of had an in there. It's like, hey,
You're rubbing elbows with the big guys, right?
Yeah, well, I make a couple of appearances in the Princess Diaries movies, so I worked with him on those, and so it just seemed like a perfect fit, you know.
Because it is a small family theater, all scripts submitted for stage consideration have to go through a selection and approval process, handled specifically by Marshall and his daughter.
They're actually the ones with the final say in what we choose for our 5-play subscription season.
Whoa. So Gary Marshall actually gets in there and gets in the mix, right?
Absolutely.
Once a play gets the green light, the pre-production process begins, auditions, props, costuming, and rehearsals until opening night. Like all composers, Fellowship music director Alan Simpson says, once you've experienced the Fellowship, he wants the audience to leave with a jingle in their heads.
Wow. Well, the biggest compliment that I ever get after people see the show is that they come up to me later and they say, I'm still humming the songs. You know, so as a composer, what more can you ask for? My wife, Tracy Burns, often tells me, she'll walk into my studio sometimes and she'll just say, thanks so much. And I know over the years now what that means. It means that she's got some tune in her head that she can't get out.
Happy birthday, Bilbo. Though you always look like you're 47. And eat and drink and smoke their fill. But stay all night till Bilbo's footing the bill. Happy birthday, Bilbo. You and there and back again. Guilty. Happy birthday, Bilbo. Say goodbye to 110. That's what...
The Falcon Theater offers a full schedule of live theatrical entertainment all year long. Check them out at www.falcontheater.com. You won't believe what you've been missing.
Our goal here is to open the doors of this center to the diverse communities of Los Angeles.
The new vibrant LA Theater Center and the Latino Theater Company, located in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, is a destination for those pursuing artistic excellence, as either a performer or an audience member. A laboratory, according to both founder and co-founder Jose Luis Valenzuela and Evelina Fernandez.
I think so many times people don't realize how vibrant we are, especially in the grassroots arts community. There's a lot of great art that is being created, and so hopefully, you know, this is a place for those people to come in and shine a little bit.
LATC is also the home of the Latino Museum of Art and Culture, the Roby Theater Company, the American Indian Dance Company, and the East LA Classical Theater, with many diverse performances in the works.
You know, we're doing the season. This begins in October now. We do Solitude. We're doing an African-American play called River Niger, which is wonderful. A Filipino play, which is called Ruby Tragically Roton, which is very nice. And then Latina and the Luz is a one-woman show.
That's cool.
Yeah, Latina and the Luz. It's a good name. And then La Virgen, and we're doing La Virgen again.
It's just inspiring to know that there's so many great artists out there, theater artists, musicians, visual artists.
While celebrating the Latino experience, the theater company also embraces Los Angeles, one of the most diverse cities in the world.
We do a lot of Latino because that's our base, but we definitely want other communities to come in here. I mean, if you are black, brown, white, yellow, gay, straight, disabled, you have a home at the new LATC. I mean, that's what this place is about, and it's for all of LA.
I believe our community needs to have places like this, meaning more places. I mean, this is one of the many places that the community should have.
The Latino Theater Company isn't just about live theater. They make movies, too.
You did Luminarias, is the one that I love. You did such a great job there.
Thank you.
So you said you're working on another movie that's in post right now, correct?
Yeah, it's called Dementia. It's also an adaptation of a play that we did several years ago. And again, we're broaching a subject that sometimes the Latino community is not very comfortable with.
And when people come here to actually see one of these programs or one of these events, what do you hope they walk away with? What do you truly, they walk through those double doors and they leave, what do you hope they walk away with?
We hope that they walk away with a global vision, you know, that we're on this planet together as communities, you know. Gone are the days where, you know, this is Latino, this is black, this is Asian, this is white. You know, if you get off of a plane at LAX, I mean, that's LA. I mean, you get off and, I mean, there's people of all cultures speaking so many different languages. And that's what we hope the experience is here at the new LATC. It's about, you know, the big picture.
To learn more about what's happening with the Latino Theater Company and the Los Angeles Theater Center, go to www.thelatc.org.
Thanks for joining us here on Live in LA. You know what, Russia? We had a good time.
Oh, absolutely. And Julian, you actually have got some dancing skills.
Well, thank you. You know what? I think we're ready to try out for Dancing with the Stars. What do you think?
Not so soon, Happy Feet. As you can tell, we've had a wonderful time here at 3rd Street Dance in West Los Angeles.
That's right. And remember, if it's live entertainment,
It's live in LA. Where can you find out about what's live in LA? Here's a quick guide to some of the best resources on the web. The City of Los Angeles offers 2 great destinations. CultureLA.org will bring you to the home of the City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs, which supports free, high-quality arts and cultural experiences throughout the city. LAParks.org is the website of the City of Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks. Take in or take part in live events throughout the city's parks and recreation facilities. The LA Weekly newspaper's website, laweekly.com, offers their LA's Essential Calendar, which features the best in live art and entertainment, nightclubs, and much more. Then, there's goldstar.com, featured previously on Live in LA, which not only includes a full calendar of live entertainment, but unique discounts at many locations. ExperienceLA.com is a cultural calendar and trip planner, and offers not only a calendar of events, but links to special events and destinations, and some suggested LA area adventures. Now you're ready. It's not a secret anymore. If you just know where to look, there are hundreds and hundreds of chances to take in the best performance arts in the country. Live in LA.
Bulky item pickup? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Every day, our brave troops and their families stand up for us.
For years, we've asked so much of so few.
Now we have a chance to serve these heroes.
To give time, offer comfort, or lend a hand.
To ease the burden on a military family.
Let's honor their service by volunteering ours.
Good morning. Emergency Preparedness Patrol. Is your family prepared for disaster?
Mom!
Emergencies can strike at any time. That's why it's important to have a family emergency plan in case you're separated during a disaster. Have an emergency supply kit ready with non-perishable food items such as dry goods, canned goods, and water. Don't forget extra medication for elderly family members. And extra pet food, too. Include a first aid kit, a battery-operated radio, extra batteries, and, of course, a waterproof flashlight. And to reduce the risk of serious injury, fasten all freestanding items securely, including water heaters. This family gets a passing grade for being prepared. Emergency preparedness. It's an LA thing.
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
Mr. Smith has arrived. Good morning, everyone. This is the LA City Council for Friday, October 22nd. We are awaiting another member to join us for an official quorum. We will begin with presentations while we wait for the quorum. And Mr. Rosendahl, if you're ready, Mr. Bill Rosendahl for a presentation. In the chambers, could you please quiet down in the chambers? We are going to start our presentation. Sergeant Arms, can you please quiet down the chambers? We are now going to begin presentations. Mr. Rosendahl.
Good morning, and good morning, Los Angelinos. Come on up, Devin. Devin Turner and her family. Come on up. Come on up. You're first. You're number one as far as I'm concerned. And your family. Come on up, family. Mother and father. We're just getting organized here at this very moment in time. People are coming in, so there's a little bit of noise. But thank you so much. Thank you for what you've done and what you're doing. An inspiration to all of us. I have cats and dogs and rabbits and chickens and all that. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Pleasure. There she is. How are you? Good morning. How are you? Congratulations. Okay, we're doing a little hugging here as we're starting here because, you know, we're animal lovers, and animal lovers know that human relationships and relationships with Mother Nature is key to making us balanced people. Today we're going to support Devin Turner. Devin is a young 13-year-old young lady, is already a true animal activist, worthy of praise and recognition. Come on right over here and bring your parents right next to you. Come on over. Come on over. You got to meet the parents, too. Instead of gifts for her bat mitzvah, Devin asked family and friends to donate money to the West Los Angeles Animal Shelter. To date, Devin's act of generosity has brought in nearly $11,000 in donations to the shelter. Devin included money from her weekly allowance as a gift to the center. At a time when so many cats and dogs and other animals are in desperate need of food, shelter, and love, Devin is truly an inspiration. Devin is a 7th grader at Brentwood School. She's on the middle school tennis team. She studies voice and makes music videos with her friends. I'd like to see those videos. I bet they're great. Her other hobbies include skiing and reading. And she, of course, loves cats and dogs. I wouldn't be surprised if she had one of my chickens. She would love that, too, as well. In addition to her generous monetary donation, Devin also sponsored a dog kennel at the West LA Animal Shelter through the Love Plaque program. You know, that's a great program. If you really want to do something, you have a few bucks, you can get something, you know, in a partnership with us and make a difference. My colleagues all know these issues of involving animals are near and dear to my heart. And I am truly moved and honored to be able to recognize such a wonderful young woman whose selfless acts are going to benefit so many creatures that cannot defend themselves. I know this is just the beginning of what will be a long life of service for Devin. It is my hope that her deeds will serve as an example to her peers and to others. Devin, you're the best. You're an inspiration to all of us. We got a huge thing signed by everybody here, including the mayor and everybody else in the city. This is for you. Now, come on up, Devin, and say a few words, just a couple of words about whatever you want to say. No, just about why you love animals or something like that. And Mom and Dad, get right next to her. Yeah, go ahead. It's okay. Just say thank you if you want.
I just want to thank you all very much for this award. Yeah, thank you.
Yay! Now we're going to go in the side over here.
Mr. Koretz.
You did great. You did great.
Come on, dear. You did great.
I just want to say that that was a very Menchie thing to do, and I don't know if she's listening though. So,
Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Kretz is addressing this particular matter.
Donates to cats and gets up there and does a whole thing about cats. He wants to say
I just want to say it's a very Menchie thing to do. We greatly appreciate it, and just so you know, if you want to leave with a kitten on the way out, we have our Feline Friday today, so you have an opportunity. But we thank you for what you're doing and hope you keep doing it.
Thank you. Announcement from Mr. Cardenas, then we'll get to Mr. Garcetti.
Yes, thank you. Before we get in the presentation to honor the great Congresswoman, I just wanted to announce that there is a new Angelino as of Friday, October 15th at 2:47 p.m. at 8 pounds 12 ounces, Alexis Viviana Cornejo, the daughter of Jose Cornejo and Lupita Cornejo. And Jose Cornejo is my chief of staff. Just wanted to congratulate them and also her bigger brother. It's now a family of 4 and a beautiful baby, very healthy. So some people have already been communicating with Jose. And so Esteban now has a little sister, and her name is Alexis Viviana Cornejo. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Garcetti with our honored guest.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, and colleagues, thank you so much for this honor. Today, as we said in the Rotunda, as we celebrated Diane Watson, that literally the heavens are crying, and we also brought a president to town just to celebrate as well. But we are celebrating the life and service, the legacy of the public servant that we know and love, our Congresswoman, Ambassador, Senator, board member, Diane Watson. Please give her a round of applause. The Congresswoman and I were just chatting, and she said, I remember when this building was the tallest building in Los Angeles. And what that speaks of is that, like this building, she is of and from Los Angeles, a beacon of justice, an inspiration to all of us, somebody who has done and who has embodied, I think, more public service than anybody at all levels than I can think of, a daughter of Los Angeles who grew up to be one of our city's greatest champions. She was born in and is a lifetime resident of California's 33rd Congressional District, which she has represented since 2001. I think there's probably about 5 of us on this horseshoe who overlap with that congressional district. But in 1975, Congresswoman Watson became the first African-American woman to be elected to the Los Angeles Unified School District. You can imagine, put yourself in the 70s for a moment. Lorraine Bradley is with us, the great daughter of the great Tom Bradley. And we had just recently taken the brave step forward of electing this nation's first African-American mayor of a large city like L.A. We still had a lot of battles, though, in the schools and in our communities. But Diane Watson's commitment to standing up for all of our city's children was quickly made apparent through her efforts to expand school integration at a time when still not everybody embraced that, but also to toughen academic standards, to do well for all students in all neighborhoods. In 1978, she built on her success at the school district and was elected to the California State Senate. And she chaired the Senate Health and Human Services Committee from 1981 to 1998. Californians and Angelinos are healthier today. There are children who are alive today. There are people with disabilities who have full functioning lives today because of her great leadership on the state Senate as the chairwoman of the Health and Human Services Committee. And indeed, Congressman Javier Becerra, who was with us in the Rotunda, said when the president signed health care legislation into law in this nation, there was a little asterisk on the bottom that said, made possible by Diane Watson, because she literally paved the path for so much that happened. As chair, she emerged as a national leader, not just a state leader, for health care, consumer protection, women and children. In 1993, she authored the California Birth Defects Monitoring Program Act, pioneering researches into the causes of birth defects, and that monitors fully 1/2 of the state's births. Some 300,000 And as Mr. Cardenas just said, they're happening every single day. Births that occur throughout the state, collecting data on more than 200 structural birth defects of medical significance. In 1993, Representative Watson also authored the Residential Care Facilities Act to ensure that senior citizens receive quality care and nursing and assisted living in their homes, which California has been the model in this country. Congresswoman Watson has also been an advocate for common sense welfare reform in the state of California, playing a major role in formulating the state of California's TANF program, which provides education and child care, employment services to those who are seeking economic opportunities and facing tough times, a program whose importance is even more critical today and which is endangered every single day by our budget crisis. Then Senator Watson's work came to the attention of the White House. And in 1999, as if the city and the state hadn't been a large enough platform for her, President Clinton appointed her to serve as United States Ambassador to the Federated States of Micronesia. And she traveled across an ocean to proudly represent all of us and every citizen and resident of the United States. Diane Watson exemplifies the best of our city and of our nation. She was elected to Congress in 2001. Elected former Representative Julian Dixon, who was a giant as well in our times. She succeeded him and built on his legacy of activism and work for social justice, and she filled in that last piece of her resume, service at the federal level, which we are so proud. She was reelected November 5th, 2002, to a full 2-year term and has served in each succeeding Congress ever since. In Washington, she has provided leadership as a member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee and as the chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Government Management, Organization, and Procurement, and as a member of the Subcommittee for Domestic Policy and the Subcommittee on Information Policy, Census, and National Archives. And we all know, going through the census, just how important that work is to make sure that our communities get what they deserve, that they are counted, that nobody is left behind, and that we get the resources we need. The Congresswoman has also served the interests of the residents of Los Angeles and the American people as a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Subcommittee for Africa and Global Health, the Subcommittee on Asia, the Pacific, and Global Environment, and the Subcommittee on Terrorism, Non-Proliferation, and Trade. She's the chair of the Congressional Entertainment Industries Caucus, too, which is fitting because she is the Congresswoman from Hollywood. And for those of us who represent Hollywood, which is made up of a heck of a lot of stars, none burns brighter than Congresswoman Diane Watson. It is the fitting place for her. Although she represents all neighborhoods, she is a superstar in Hollywood as well. She's the co-chair of the Korean Caucus, which you can see. She's the member of the Women's Caucus, the Progressive Caucus, the UK Caucus. I don't know how she found time to do so much work, but she, if you've ever been with Diane Watson late at night, when you decide to go home, she is still out there working and making sure people know. And we all know that she has an incredible energy that some of us a few years younger do not have at the same level. It is inspiring. So today we congratulate Congresswoman Diane Watson and applaud her exemplary effort and accomplishments on behalf of her district, the City of Los Angeles, the State of California, the United States of America, and dare I say, to the entire world. And I know that many people are going to want to say things. We had a wonderful ceremony in which we had clergy and musicians and community members. The Congresswoman was recently honored in Korea. I don't think that her days of service are over, but as she retires from the United States Congress, we celebrate the success of this chapter. As this chapter closes and a new one opens, we know that you will continue to be that superstar in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, and far beyond. And on behalf of all of us, we present you with this certificate of congratulations from the people of Los Angeles.
Congresswoman, we have some members that wish to address Ms. Perry. We'll begin with Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to the Congresswoman, simply put, you are an inspiration, and you have always been generous with your time and generous with your spirit, and that's just emblematic of who you are. My best memories, thoughts, and joy of knowing you have been talking to you about your mother and all the great stories that we shared really just sort of exemplify the the kindness and the passion and compassion you bring to everything that you do. So I want to say thank you publicly, and also to congratulate you and to say how lucky we are that we're going to have you here full time. I hope.
Ms. Hahn?
Well, thank you. I rise today to just really congratulate you, Congresswoman Watson, on your incredible lifetime of public service. You really epitomize to me what it means to be a public servant and what it means to be a woman in public service. From your time on the school board to our state senate, to being a congresswoman, you have been so strong and so mighty in your advocacy for people, and your legacy in terms of protecting consumers, your legacy in terms of your passion for health care really will live on in people's lives who are now healthier, in babies who will be born healthier, in people who will live healthier lives. And I'm sure it was a thrill for you to be in Congress as President Obama finally decided to help pass, with your help, a great health care legislation for all Americans. And again, just as a woman, I have admired you. You have been an inspiration to me. You have been a political inspiration, but as Ms. Perry said, it was just your personal encouragement that you would give to me over the years. Just a word, a sentence, a kind thought about what I was doing and what I was involved in. And I know you and my father were dear friends for so many years, and really, the Kenneth Hahns and the Diane Watsons, you are cut out of a cloth that I'm hoping those of us in the next generation can learn from and can model ourselves after. So congratulations on a great career, and I'm sure we haven't heard the end of you, and I look forward to seeing how you're still going to be involved in shaping people's lives. Congratulations.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate you on your 30 years of tremendous, wonderful leadership and service, and you've been recognized around this country as being a great leader. As my colleague Janice Hahn just mentioned, you've been the leader on many, many issues, helping the people who truly need to be helped. But one of the things I want to point out is that you introduced the first bill to professionalize gang intervention and to be recognized throughout the country. And with that, this bill is based upon the work of the community. This is a product of community gang interventionists who have taught us policymakers about what they need. Now our job is just to put it into statute so that they can be recognized and continue to flourish that wonderful work. So you're the first Congress member to ever do that, so I want to thank you for doing so. In addition to that, this model is something that the City of Los Angeles adopted, and now you're taking it to the national level. Your leadership and your recognition of things that most elected officials might think, that's nice, but then ignore it, is the reason why you are so special. You have worked on issues that most elected officials have passed up. And one of the things that I want to tell you again, and I've said this publicly before, when I got elected to the legislature, I met you then. And when I saw you working, I was so impressed that I did literally say, I want to be like her. You are definitely a role model for me, and to any elected who's paying attention, we could all learn and grow from learning to be like you. But in addition to that, you did something that I thought was extremely humble. You always deflect and defer your good work and push it on to other people. When you introduced this tremendous bill, you did something that was quite impressive and something that I was just completely speechless when I heard that you introduced a bill with my name on it when it comes to gang intervention. You didn't ask me for permission. You didn't take credit for it, but you did it, and then I found out after the fact that you had introduced the bill. So I just wanted to say, once again, there you go, being the kind of elected official and public servant that isn't about you. It should never be about me or you. It should be about doing wonderful work. So thank you for your humility for so many years. Thank you for your wonderful work. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you for being a mentor to many of us. God bless you. Thank you.
Mr. Rosendahl.
The Congresswoman, frankly, is my sister in many ways, and she's been to my house before I was an elected official, and we partnered on my television show over the years, and on a very personal note, we have friends in common. She got to see my animals and see what a nutcase I am on many levels. But we have embraced on absolutely every issue. Politically, as I was doing my television show, it was always a breath of fresh air to have you come on, be honest, with integrity, and courage on the issues that really matter to all of us. And as life goes on, we all find new opportunities and new moments in our lives. I never thought I'd be in office. I joined this group here when I turned 60. So I do know there's life after one thing or another. But we certainly want you back engaged in all of the issues that matter to all of us. You've been an inspiration to me, and you're truly my sister. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Koretz.
Well, as I said earlier in the rotunda, I was proud to have worked on one of my first political campaigns for you in the early 70s, and I've, of course, been proud to watch what you've accomplished over almost 40 years in elective office, and you've been an inspiration to me and one of the reasons that I wound up running for public office and have gotten involved in public service. And one of the things that was mentioned that I think I should amplify on is your groundbreaking election to the school board. What most people don't remember is back then this was a citywide election. So it wasn't just your own geographic area where people knew you. You really had to be recognized for your good work in education citywide and build a coalition where people didn't know you, and we had to get the good word out. I was happy to participate in that on the west side, but it's not a coincidence that you were the person that broke that ground. We thank you for your great capability and all your accomplishments over the years. You've had one of the remarkable careers in public service, and we in Los Angeles all thank you for that.
Mr. Alarcon.
Congresswoman, there's so many things that could be said, and we don't have enough time to say it all. But I just want to reflect on a time in 1993 when I was running for the City Council for the very first time, and a group of African-American elected officials from Southside came to the San Fernando Valley, to Pacoima, to African-American churches to promote the election, to get people to come out and vote. I tagged along, and I'll never forget that initially when I was there, you kind of kept looking back at me like, who is this guy, and why is he coming with us? Mark Ridley Thomas explained to you who I was. I had worked for Mayor Bradley, and we had met a couple of times, but we really didn't know each other. A couple of churches, a couple of one-minute speeches. By the third church, I had you. You endorsed me to the rest of the churches that we visited that day, and I've never forgotten that. But really, just a tremendous champion for our community. It wasn't just about serving your district. You reached out to communities like you did that day in Pacoima to ensure that we are promoting something that is the foundation of so many of our activities, and that is the civil rights of the people of the United States of America. That's what your career is all about. It reflects it in every way, shape, and form, that it recognizes the imbalances in our society and the work that we have to do to correct those imbalances. You're a champion. We love you. Thank you so much for your service. We anticipate much more, and we'll be there going with you to churches or wherever else you need us to go for you. Thank you.
And Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I'm very humbled to be before you. I want to thank you for everything you've done. As a fellow Bruin, I'm extra proud to know that we have been able to look at our universe and your universe is so huge. I am very grateful. I believe about 8 years ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and we came to your office and we spoke about the Los Angeles River. And you mentioned Compton Creek, and we talked about, okay, what are its impacts? And you, along with many other delegates and representatives from the area, signed this letter that gave us the first entree into the various agencies and departments and get the Army Corps to look at this at a very different light. But what's extra special is that you knew the river was a corridor, you knew Compton Creek was a spine that comes away from that major arterial, but your focus is regional. And there was a spirit there that said, I may not be the first, but I know I'm part of a solution for everybody. And that in of itself allowed us to take up some very important momentum in Washington, D.C. to look at this region, its watershed, its environmental issues, in a manner that spoke to quality of life. And so for that I thank you, because you set a precedent amongst other Congress members. You got more attention, and if it wasn't for that spirit, I don't believe we'd be where we're at today, given all the work you've done for us. I want to thank you for that and for your career's work and impacting our quality of life. Thank you so much.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much. We had a great reception in the Rotunda. All your friends who came to join, and I'm sure there's many others who want to be here. Lorraine Bradley, who spoke so eloquently of her father, all that you've done. I first got involved because you were so helpful to me. The school district at the time didn't have districts by they weren't by district, they were citywide, and Diane was a member of the Board of Education, and I was from Marshall High, and I wanted to do things at Marshall High, and she's from Dorsey, her colors are green and white, and she's very proud Dorsey graduate, but she helps out. She helps people out, and you've done that your whole career, as many have spoken. So, Diane, I love you. If Johnny Grant was here, he would say great things about you, as everybody who's went before. You've truly been an inspiration, and I love you, and congratulations on serving the United States in Congress, and congratulations on your next steps, and all those people love you, and everybody else, too. Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
And Congresswoman, I just want to offer my congratulations. I've seen you in different venues, activities. You're always so humble, sophisticated, direct, compassionate. You have such great qualities, and that has been shared with the people of not only Los Angeles but the country. God bless you in your future endeavors. The microphone is now yours.
Thank you so much. I am extremely humbled this morning to be at the Los Angeles City Hall, where my father worked with Gil Lindsay. I know a little bit of history on so many of you, and I was listening to Ms. Hahn, whose father and I worked together for years. And whenever you went in to talk to Kenny Hahn, he gave you a history lesson, or he gave you the wisdom, but what came through was his sincere and deep commitment to the county, this city, and the state of California, and really the country. And we learned so much from your father. And then I'm standing here next to a junior, a Gassetti. I worked with your father, and when I had problems, I'd call him in, to the office and say, we got to do something about the gun shop over here, or whatever. Each and every, Mr. Rosenthal, it was wonderful coming and having conversation with you from time and Jen, all of you. But I want to say, I was born on 50th and Central in the home of Judge Brody's mother. And so, you see, I stand on great shoulders. Tom Bradley was one of the officers that my father, who was a police officer early on, trained. And so, Lorraine, I feel like I'm a family member and I have ownership of Tom Bradley. My father stood 6 feet tall, 6'5", And he came to Los Angeles because he heard that you could run on the beach 365 days a year. And he came and he met a young woman who had just enrolled in college, Los Angeles City College. We've been on the public and the private dole all of our lives. And her enrollment number was 2003. She was the third person to ever enroll. Wow. However, 4 children later, she went back to graduate from there with my youngest sister.
Wow.
So, you see, I have roots in the city of Los Angeles. I have roots in the city hall. And I was telling a group of South Koreans as we were looking out of the upper windows, I said, you know, this was the tallest building in town, and the next day we had an earthquake. And I was telling them how you could not build more than 7 stories because of our conditions here. But we learned to mitigate that. We build on rollers so that we roll, and you can see these high rises. So I'm part of the history of Los Angeles. And to stand in this hall is very humbling because everything you say about me, I can give back to you because you're the ones who make the policy for the greatest city, I feel, in the world. And when I travel, Eric, abroad, and many of you know I worked abroad for many years, and as I travel, I said, I represent Los Angeles, and people nod. And Culver City, and they smile. And Hollywood, and they absolutely get up and cheer.
That's right.
So I attach my star to Hollywood, but Hollywood is part of the city of Los Angeles, the greatest city in the world, and thank you so very much for these honors. It's very humbling. Thank you.
The great Diane Watson, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. We'll take a group picture here. And then we can ask all members just to come to the well for a second. We're going to do a group photo. Let's swing the chairs around.
All right. Mr. Clerk, before we do the next presentation, we'll do the official call to order of the council. Welcome to City Hall, council chambers. This is the official meeting of the City Council. Today is Friday, October 22nd. We meet 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. All meetings are open to the public. For those who cannot make to City Hall, we are televised via Channel 35 or viewed on the internet, www.lacity.org. This meeting is now officially in session. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendale, Smith, Wessenzine, Garcetti. 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First item of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Garcetti, second by Mr. Smith.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Alarcon, seconded by Mr. Cardenas.
Mr. President, do you wish to go back to presentations or run through the agenda?
Let's run through the agenda since we're currently having the chambers in excitement mode.
Before beginning the regular agenda, there is a request to continue items 1 and 12 to November 9th.
Without opposition, 1 and 12 continued to November 9th.
On the regular agenda, items 2 and 3 are items for which public hearings have been held.
On number 2 and 3, special. Special for Councilmember Garcetti. Special on number 2, no. Seeing nothing. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Next group, please.
Items 4 through 13 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
On those items, Ms. Perry?
Chair, I needed to call special item 3 on behalf of Mr. Parks.
It's special. We call it special. Okay. Any other items, colleagues, for specials?
Mr. President, in that section, I believe there's a substitute motion that works on number 8. Do you wish to hold that?
Hold that, please.
And you do have cards on a number of those items.
Then the ones where we have cards, please call those special.
Items 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, and 13, which now leaves before council items 9 and 10.
On the specials, colleagues, seeing none, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
All right, next item, please.
That does take care of the items called special on the agenda. Back to public comment or presentations.
We'll go back to presentations. Ms. Perry, I'm sorry, Ms. Perry?
Hi, everybody. Hi. Come stand up next to me. Take your name tag, put it on your back or something, and then come stand around me. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and it's my privilege today to raise awareness for Fall Prevention Week. I am joined today by the Fall Prevention Coalition, made up of individuals from the Fall Prevention Center of Excellence at the University of Southern California, Presbyterian Homes, and the Los Angeles Fire Department. Fall Prevention Week is observed on an annual basis during the first week in autumn and is filled with events encouraging healthy, safe, and independent living with different ways to stay active and to reduce fall risks. During the week of September 19th through the 25th, 2010, the Fall Prevention Coalition, Los Angeles educated, Los Angeles culturally diverse, older adult population, and service providers about ways to reduce fall risk with handouts translated into Armenian, Chinese, Korean, Russian, and Spanish. In 2008, the Senate, United States Senate Concurrent Resolution 77, authored by Senator Alan Lowenthal, established an annual Fall Prevention Awareness Week in California. This year, for National Fall Prevention Awareness Day on September the 23rd, more than 30 states joined California in promoting fall prevention. On October the 27th, FPC LA will also hold a walkability workshop to raise awareness of the issue of outdoor falls and promote pedestrian safety in the Fairfax community of the 5th Council District. And so I am happy to be a part of this important cause today, and it's my pleasure to present this resolution commemorating the efforts of the Fall Prevention Coalition and its supporters. And I'd like to, before I do this presentation, invite Emily Neighbors, Program Coordinator for the Fall Prevention Center, and Anna Nguyen, Research Scientist for the Fall Prevention Center, just to say a few words. Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Councilwoman Perry, for the opportunity to address the City Council. The Fall Prevention Coalition Los Angeles is funded by the Kaiser Foundation. Our mission is to reduce falls among older adults by raising awareness, establishing a network of services, and advocating for policy change. Falls are a major health problem among older adults. As you may know, about 1/3 of older adults fall every year. In LA, that's about 150,000 people over the age of 60, or about 3 people every minute. Falls are a leading cause of injury, loss of independence, and death among older adults. Falls can take a huge toll on older people, their loved ones, and the healthcare system. Our coalition members represent diverse organizations, including the City and County Area Agencies on Aging, the City and County Fire Department, numerous nonprofit organizations, service providers such as Southern California Presbyterian Homes, and older adult advocates. Another one of our upcoming coalition activities is our walkability workshop, and my colleague Anna Nguyen will speak more about that.
Thank you, Emily. We're very excited to host our walkability workshop in the Fairfax district this coming Wednesday. We chose that area because the LA County Department of Public Health recently identified the top 20 zip codes with the highest fall-related hospitalization rates. And the Fairfax district's 90036 zip code ranks number 5 in LA County. The nationally recognized walkability workshop is designed to mobilize the resources necessary to make neighborhoods safer and more pedestrian friendly. Local business owners, city representatives, advocates, and residents will be able to develop an action plan. The walkability workshop also has the support of the Fairfax Business Association and the Mid-City West Community Council. We would like to thank the City Council, especially Councilwoman Jan Perry and her staff, for their support of our work, and we look forward to continuing to strengthen our partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving us this opportunity to do this. So I will present the certificate to them, and we're complete. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Perry. Thank you. Congratulations.
So we'll go in the back.
Our next presentation, CD5, Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz.
Okay, now let's go in the back. Get your personal. I'll go in the back. Take a more formal photo.
Looks like Mr. Koretz has twins this morning.
Well, you're right. Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 beautiful Siamese kittens, Tom and Jerry. This is Tom. He is 8 weeks. They both are actually 8 weeks old and neutered. They're Siamese mixes, and they're just gorgeous little kittens. He is actually a little bit more like an orange tabby as well. And his number is A1161731, and this is Jerry. Actually, this is Emily holding Jerry. And his number is A1161823. If anyone wants to adopt these, if you're in the building, come on down, or if you're in the audience. Otherwise, you can call my office at 213-473-7005, and we can help you as well. Part of our Feline Fridays, 2 of the wonderful kittens that you can get at any of our 6 animal shelters. So come on down and adopt one or both of these 2 beautiful kittens.
Mr. Rosendahl, I think you have a bid going.
Say as well.
Paul, you're terrific, and I'm really glad you got elected to the city council and that you love animals the way you do. I very much would have picked up these 2 kittens, because I have 3 kittens, but the law says 3. So we're going through a process to change it to 5. Once we change it to 5, which I hope my colleagues will go along with us, it would be wonderful to pick up a couple of more little kitties, especially these 2, which are adorable. The last little ones I got was a year and a half ago, and so now I have 3. I have Black Lady, who's 14, and 2 young ones. So let's change the law, and you'll get another buzz out of me for 2 more little kitties. Thanks.
Thank you. Should I save these 2 for you in that eventuality? Should we save these 2 for you, Bill?
Mr. Rosenthal, he wants to save them for you if you wish to do that.
Well, the question is, how long will it take for my colleagues to move this law through the process, make the law, and post the law? They won't be kitties anymore the way we take time around here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And again, if anyone's interested, they are available today here at City Hall. Our next presentation, CD 14. Mr. Weezar. And colleagues, this will be our last presentation for today. Mr. Weezar.
Not behind. Thank you very much, Mr. President, Mr. Zine, and it gives me great pleasure to stand here today to recognize some individuals and an organization that were responsible for hosting one of the largest outdoor music festivals in the city of Los Angeles. And I'm talking about the Eagle Rock Music Festival. I have with us here today Damon Dennis, the board chair from the Center for the Arts, Bob Gotham, a board member for Center for the Arts and also president of Terra, Michael Schlitter, from another board member for Center for the Arts, Julia Salazar, executive director for Center for the Arts. Welcome, Julia. And staff from Center for the Arts, Renee Dominique. Welcome, Renee. Brian Martinez, Megan Kaddish, and Laura Marchetti. Welcome, and let's give them all a huge, big round of applause to thank them for the work they did on the largest music festival in the city of Los Angeles, the Eagle Rock Music Festival. Thank you so much. You see, each year, part of Colorado Boulevard gets shut down for several hours, replacing the tires with feet, and Angelinos stroll from stage to stage, hearing music and beats from emerging Los Angeles bands and DJs while celebrating the Eagle Rock community, supporting local businesses, and enjoying a bit of culture. Nationally noted, this nonprofit community street festival just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This year was the 12th festival, and we think about 100,000 people attended. Music lovers, kids, and people from all walks of life came out to enjoy some music under the stars. Although that sounds like a lot of folks, it's easy to find the familiar and friendly faces of your neighbors among the crowd. The growing popularity of this festival has a lot to do with the commitment of the center staff to finding emerging local artists that make groundbreaking music. It is their close attention to the mix of bands and the program that makes this festival one that's attended by ethnically and culturally diverse group of music lovers of all ages. One that reflects the complexity and beauty of Los Angeles' many residents, and that makes the Eagle Rock Music Festival a local event with a citywide appeal and audience. For all these reasons, it is my pleasure to present this resolution to the people who made the music festival happen. And it's always a pleasure for my staff to work with you with this, because they say, number one, you're easy to work with, it's for a good cause, and above all else, we all enjoy the beautiful music that day. Congratulations, and thank you very, very much.
Can I say a few words?
Sure, yes, absolutely. That's for you. Anybody else want to say a few words?
Hi, my name is Julia Salazar, and I would like to thank the City Council and especially Councilmember Weezar for this prestigious, it's not an award, acknowledgement, recognition. And I'd like to thank my staff and board members who are here. The Eagle Rock Music Festival is very special. It's a night of all kinds of music. It's very magical, and it tends to draw people from all walks of life. We have very young children to people in their 80s. We have every ethnicity. We have, it's just a very peaceful, magical evening of music. I also want to thank the City Council for their continuing support of the arts. We're one of your arts partners in Eagle Rock, and we provide a lot of programs for kids, after-school programs, exhibitions. We employ lots of different types of artists, and thank you for this acknowledgement.
Thank you. And thank you. Thank you, Julia, and thank you for the wonderful work you do. And also, Damon Dennis, the board chair, will share a few words.
I would just like to say again, thank you to everyone for your support on the festival. It's very helpful for us. It kind of gets our name out there. It helps us get funding from different businesses. So it's very helpful to us when you guys help us out. And I just wanted to say, when I started, I've been on the board for 10 years. I've been to the music festival all 12 years, and it started just inside all the businesses, and we'd have people on guitar and DJs, etc. And then it kind of grew and grew, and then the city closed the road a little ways, and it just they were supportive the entire time, and it's really helped us out to get our funding so we can do the things for the children in the area, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
And as he mentioned, about 4.5 years ago, this event was conducted on the side streets to the main corridor, Colorado Boulevard, but because of the city's support, it was able to move to half of Colorado, and now it's all of Colorado, where we enjoy 100,000 people visiting the beautiful community of Eagle Rock. And the business owners tell us that that day is perhaps their busiest of all year. But it's not only that, it also brings people back once they see the wonderful restaurants and coffee shops and everything else that people could go do on Colorado Boulevard. Now, we have one other person that's going to share a few words, Renee Dominique, and she is the Director of Development. Overall, she always gets that when her name is announced. And overall, a great person. Please welcome Renee Dominique.
Thank you, Councilmember Jose Huizar, and thank you, LA City Council. I am a Eagle Rock resident. I have been pretty much my whole life. As my coworkers, I graduated from Eagle Rock High School and then Occidental College. Eagle Rock's been a transitional neighborhood, and it's one of the neighborhoods that's gotten better because of nonprofit arts organizations such as Center for the Arts Eagle Rock and many, many other programs. The support of the City of Los Angeles is a great help to us. We're privileged to be in a beautiful building, and I believe we're good stewards of that space. I encourage you to come to one of our many events. We have lots of art receptions, concerts, screenings of films, lectures, and we do provide many art classes to a lot of the schools where their art programs have been cut. So I just want to thank you so much, and I love the City of Los Angeles. I do believe it's one of the greatest cities in the world. Thank you all for all of your service and all the hours that you put in. We really appreciate what you do, and thank you very much for this acknowledgement.
Thank you. Mr. Labange. Thank you very much. I just wanted to give a shout out to Eagle Rock and especially Jose Huizar. It has made a difference. You talked about how it makes a special day. You have created that and really stemmed the upwards of economic development of a village neighborhood. Congratulations, Eagle Rock. And to you, Mr. Huizar, keep the arts coming.
One final comment?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I'd like to point out Brian Martinez, who everyone works very hard at the center on the music festival, but he works probably half the year or a little bit more, listening to bands, listening to their CDs, and helping us out a lot. So,
if you want to know what's happening, If you want to know what's happening in the music scene, both underground and above ground, you talk to this young man right here. Thank you very much.
And just so you know, that's coming from a former and current heavy metal fan, Mr. Weezar. So he says that with authority. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Congratulations to everybody in the festival. We're going to take item 3 out of order and then go to public comment. If we can take item 3 and ask our actuarial to come forward for our actuary to come forward for our actuarial report on the proposed retirement tier for the March 2011 ballot for the Los Angeles Fire and Police Pension System. After that is done, today, colleagues, we are just going to be listening to the presentation of the actuary, and we'll probably be taking up for a vote on Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. I think it's Tuesday, but we'll hear that first. Ms. Perry, did you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, I wanted to make this verbal amendment on behalf of Councilmember Parks because item number 3 on today's agenda failed to specifically state the amendment. So he has asked me to please state the amendment and so that it is clarified, and it says, quote, committees adopted the CAO report as of October 15, 2010, end quote. This was verbally stated in the Joint Rules and Personnel Committee, but for whatever reason it was not included in the report, and Mr. Parks has asked me to make sure that it is clarified and that it is added as part of the public record so it can be amended into the report.
Okay. And again, we're not going to be voting on that today, so I know Mr. Parks is going to be back on Tuesday, so we're just listening to the actuary today. With that, Mr. CEO.
Good morning. I understand this item will be voted on next week, but as required in the charter, we do have the actuary here who has conducted an analysis of a variety of options regarding the sworn pension change, including the one we're recommending. So we'll have him give a brief overview of that in about 5 minutes, and then I understand the item will be continued.
Okay, thank you.
Good to see you again.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back.
Paul Angelo with the Siegel Company. We're the actuaries both for the Fire Police Pension System and also advising the City Administrative Office. You have an actuarial report on the proposals. It's dated October 14th. It actually contains 6 different sort of variations, but the basic new tier is on page 1, and it shows a comparison there between Tier 4, Tier 5, and the proposed Tier 6. The principal change is that under Tier 4, a sworn member with 20 years of service receive a pension equal to 40% of salary. That was increased to 50% under Tier 5. Under the proposed Tier 6, that would go back to 40%. However, Tier 6 is not the same as Tier 4 because after the 20 years, under the old Tier 4, your benefit was capped at 70% of pay. You basically accrued an additional 3% per year to cap out at 70% of pay if you had 30 years of service. Under Tier 5, you could continue to accrue at roughly 3% per year all the way out to that 33rd year. That got you to 90% of pay. And so the Tier 6, in effect, gets to the same benefit at the end of 33 years by having higher rates of accrual in the later years. So at 20 years, Tier 6 looks like Tier 4. At 33 years, Tier 6 looks like Tier 5. Okay. There are some other changes at the bottom there. The average final pay is going from 12 months to 24 months. And then a crucial change is currently there are no member contributions for the retiree medical benefit, the health benefit. This would add either 1% or 2%. The proposal has the 2%. So option 6 at the bottom of page 1 is the one that we are actually pricing. With that, I'll just go to the page where the costs are shown, and then I'll open for questions. If you go to page 7, at the top of page 7 shows the cost of the current Tier 5. And if you add the cost together, it's about 31.5%, of which 22.5% is paid by the city and 9% is paid by the members. If you go to the bottom of page 8, where you see option 6, that's the one that has the 9% member contribution, the 2% going into the health plan, and the 2-year final average. You'll see if you add it up that the total cost is about 28.5%, of which the member's cost is 11% and the employer's cost is 17.5%. So the real change here is that the total cost has gone down, but also the member's contribution rate has gone up by 2 full percentage points. We can go on about actual assumptions, anything else you want, but that's the nuts and bolts.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And just to clarify, we clarified with the clerk, there is no need to add that amendment. The report already reflects that, so I think Ms. Perry's amendment will be able to withdraw, but we're not voting on things today, and we've consulted with Mr. Parks' staff on that, and they are comfortable with that it's there, what he had asked for. In terms of this, folks, and we don't have to do a long debate today, I just wanted to be very clear. First of all, thank you to our actuary. I know it's a very busy time for actuaries around the country all of a sudden, which is probably a good thing for your business, one bright spot in the economy. But this was very important. I want to thank our sworn partners as well, both from the Police Protective League and UFLAC, for sitting down with us, listening. I know, one is saying yes, one is waiting, but just in articulating what it is that you think will keep us competitive, will continue to attract the right law enforcement professionals that we need, but also step up and deal with the reality right now of our economic situation and do the responsible thing. I want to say a couple other things, but I want to add something as well to request of the City Attorney. I would request the City Attorney to include language to allow the Council by ordinance to amend Tier 6 to allow members of other tiers to elect to transfer to Tier 6, provided it is actuarially cost neutral. And the CAO has been consulted about this and is comfortable about this, and I think there's consensus about this as well. But also request the City Attorney to include a provision to allow unclaimed monies to revert to the plan to avoid esketing to the state, so that it would go to the plan, not to the state, which I think is really critical to us as well, since we've been the victim of many state grabs of our money, not least of which was in this last budget. There's some interesting things in here. We don't have to go into great detail about them today, but one of the things that was interesting about as we looked at certain things was there's been a lot of clamor for folks to do defined contributions instead of defined benefits. This actually saves us more money changing this on a defined benefit than moving to a defined contribution. So I know a lot of people ideologically out there want us to do things on pensions for this reason or that reason because they just believe inherently. We stick to the numbers. And an actuary who is bound by law to do analysis, not based on politics but based on numbers, actually showed that when a pension is designed the right way, it is cheaper for the people of Los Angeles. It is better for the workers. They're not left, as we've seen in car companies and others, where you suddenly have a pension that was based on a 401k that disappears. It is better for our economy, and as we suspected, it continues to help us be able to address the budget deficit. Again, colleagues, as we look at a $319 million deficit for this coming year, pensions by themselves will not balance this year's budget. We have some very difficult decisions to make on how we're going to do it, because the estimate of this, which we prepared in the ERC, which the mayor had a press conference of following with the work that we had done in the ERC, and he embraced as well, which we all have unanimously there, is estimated by the CAO for every 1,000 hires to do over 30 years of saving $173 million. But to be clear, for the first few years, as we're just beginning to hire, there's very little savings. It might be $1.5 million on an average year for 1,000 midway in that 30-year process. So these are really important because over time, if we hire thousands, which we will replace all of our firefighters and our police officers probably in the next 30 years. It's a pretty safe assumption. So for about 14,000 people, we will save over $1 billion. Actually, it's more like closer to $2 billion than $1 billion over the time of those 30 years, so that our successors can look back here and say, thank goodness that this horseshoe, whoever was there, we don't remember their names, we don't know who they were, did the right thing. Thank goodness we had a CAO and a CLA that helped us work through that. Thank goodness we had responsible union leaders, because right now we're wondering who was there 20 years ago who wasn't thinking ahead. And if we can do this the right way, I think it's something that will help us long-term do the structural reform that is demanded of us, that is the right thing to do, and that will help us keep Los Angeles healthy for years to come. So, again, thank you to the actuary. We're not going to be voting on this today. We can have the weekend, and I thought it was best for the public, for our unions, for our council members, and everybody to be able to absorb this over the weekend, talk to the CAO and CLA about any questions, and then on Tuesday we will hopefully move forward with preparing this for ballot with the amendment as I asked for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Mr. Clerk, is there a vote required now?
I don't know if there's any objection to continuing it to Tuesday.
The matter is just continued. Okay, very well. Now we'll go to public comment. Thank you all for that discussion on pension. Bobby Cooper, public comment.
Good morning, gentlemen. As you know, my name is Bobby Cooper. I was here last week, I guess, first part of this week, I guess it was Wednesday, and I came in and informed you that I was having problems with a few individual Los Angeles Rampart police officers in the building of my apartment. I informed you that there was wrongful death of a gentleman next to me in June. I informed you that Rafael Sanchez attempted to enter my room with a pillow. I assumed to smother me in a briefcase to take the rest of my documents out of here. You know, I don't need to keep coming down here. I'm a citizen. If I'm African American, you can see that. I'm being mistreated. I don't know what to do about it. I come down here and I've appealed to all the law enforcement officers and agencies that I could possibly, and nothing has been done. Now I go home. That Wednesday, Rafael Sanchez is dead. The man is dead. I just got through mentioning his name. Is that to keep him from substantiating the allegations made here today? I don't know. You know, I don't make assumptions, and I don't make allegations without merit. You notice I have mentioned the names of these police officers. You know, I don't make allegations without facts, and that's the reason. I'd appreciate it if you protect my life as you didn't protect my mother, my brother, my father. Those are three people in my family dead behind my money, my insurance money. I'm being stalked like an animal, and I keep coming down here, same thing. Thank you. You have a blessed day. God is going to handle this one, though. Believe me, He will.
Arnold Sachs.
Thank you. Good morning. Fascinating meeting on Wednesday, especially regarding the airport, another airport fiasco. I have to admit, Councilman Cardenas, you surprised the hell out of me with your accusations regarding the awarding of the contracts. That the management of the people doing the certifying or doing the judging was sitting in the room. And I thought to myself, where have we heard that before? And then I got it. That was at the airport with Gina Marie Lindsay and the architects. Remember? You had her in here. The architects, they chose an architectural firm. Then they had another round of judging, and the scores went from 4-1 to 5-0 to a different company, and you brought her in here and you said, you got to stop that. You got to be more open and transparent in your deliberations regarding these contracts. You were brutal cross-examination. She actually got her name right. And what happens? More contracts come up at the airport, and the same BS occurs. What a job by the council. But the good news was, Mr. Rosendahl, $10 billion worth of renovations, and not a penny for public transportation. So you've gone from $3 billion to $5 billion to $8 billion and $10 billion, and not a penny for public transportation. And according to the last poll of travelers, LA ranks 19th out of 20 airports. This was in a newspaper article in the LA Times. They even had a picture of the monorail at Detroit Airport, where they're closing down neighborhoods because it's so poor. Nice job, council.
John Walsh.
John Walsh blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. We have a new post up there. It's the most important post we've ever put up. And we started in February of last year. Has the $120 million Meg Whitman has spent on TV commercials bought her immunity from TV newsrooms covering the story of her son's arrest record? Griff Barnett V. We have the arrest record. We have the police report. We have the Q&A session. This is all on our website right now, HollywoodHighlands.org, the only place that it's aggregated. And when she was Q&A'd, and we have that tape, and asked if any member of her family had an arrest record, she said no, only traffic tickets. It's on there right now. And who did he beat up? It was an assault. It was an assault on his girlfriend, Griff Barnett V, and his girlfriend was an Hispanic woman. Read her version. It is no place in America put together except on HollywoodHighlands.org. If I'm lying, my credibility is destroyed. His picture is up there. Everything is up there. Am I a plant from Jerry Brown? No. I have said that Stephen Glazer has lied to the San Francisco Chronicle. He is the campaign manager of Jerry Brown, and he is the one that has used the word whore. It is his voice. That we are as angry at Whitman as we are at Brown. The truth is out there. HollywoodHighlands.org. You will find that Meg Whitman is a liar. And her other son is no bargain either. And if she can't run her family, she can't run the state. HollywoodHighlands.org. Shame on the mainstream media.
Matt Dowd.
Thank you. You know, it's the greatest day of all, finally, in the city of Los Angeles. I can trump Tom LaBonge because I just beat Tom LaBonge's permit system at Venice Beach with an injunction from federal court. His very best friend, you can tell, Tom LaBonge, Harry Pregerson's son, Dean Pregerson, said, Matt Dowd and Zuma Dog are right. You shouldn't have to give your name to the government to do free speech. And the amplifier ban was illegal as well. So we won an injunction against the city. Thank you, America. You're welcome to come back to Venice Beach now without interference from the city. And see, the key words in the injunction are that there was intervening authority, because this was Judge Pregerson of Mr. LaBonge, if you can tell him. See, he created that ordinance you voted on, and that was the city's main argument in defense. Oh, the judge created this, so it has to be legal. But in the meantime, I can tell you, and you can tell Mr. Rosendahl, so I'm compliant with the code, that in the meantime there was the Ninth Circuit intervening lawsuit. And if I can read it, and I'm just like a bum off the street, in all honesty, look at me, that's what you think. Channel 35 loves me because I'm the underdog and I won and we were right. You know, and here we are, and now we're in the Ninth Circuit on the Michael Hunt shea butter. That's my other federal case. We all go all the way to the appeal court. How many people filed and won an injunction in federal court and got to the Ninth Circuit on their other case, which is still alive? So I just want to move forward, Bill. Go to the table. Find something that works. I understand the federal law, apparently, because the federal court said I did. So let's just do it.
Our next speaker is Walter Bechtel. Yeah. Yeah, have him come down.
If only we had that kind of money, and in the real world, the real people could file a lawsuit in the federal court. But as far as giving awards to people in music in Mr. Huzar's district, I think that it should be known there's still nothing being done on my case. So as far as making it look like you care, that's a lie. The only thing that was done is we were evicted from the hotel we're living in. We're living in at the Ford Hotel. Everybody living there had their rents doubled and tripled, and with a loophole bypassing the city's own rent stabilization ordinance. Despite what HUD law says, they are converting the hotel into a semi-board and care facility. 60 units are going to be for, quote, family and other persons who are going to be living at the Ford Hotel. Obviously, these people are going to be taking care of the disabled person. It's just a guised method of making it into a board and care facility. Kicking everybody out, secretly receiving $8 million from the Catholic Church this last summer, money somehow you needed, but you were already funded at the Ford Hotel. Why did you need $8 million extra? How could you get money from HUD when you were being funded by somebody else? It's a big sham. You vote everybody you can out of office.
Michael, carry on.
Yes, my name is Michael Carrion, and I just had a few questions. When you say that the members have to leave the room and excuse themselves, why do they go in the back room, and yet when you say they're in the chambers, they're in the back room? The city attorney should look into this before you get sued once again for more money. You can't have it both ways. I'm in the back room, so I'm not in the chamber, and I'm in the back room, and I'm in the chambers. We want somebody to explain that to us. It's real simple. Yeah, he probably can explain that to me, my grandson, because nobody here can. You cannot have your cake and eat it all the time. You've got people coming up here making a mockery of you, and then you get upset about it. They come in here and they waste your time, and then you get mad. The public sees this, and sometimes we see it on TV, and when you get humiliated, you get upset. And that's kind of fun. It makes the circus go round and round. I've got about 3 or 4 dozen calls when you had a boot on a police vehicle. I came to you and told you that you had a problem there on the corner of police parking illegally. Did anybody get up off their chair to do anything about it? Not one person. You ignored it, and you let the crime go on by LAPD breaking the law. Someone took it upon himself to put a boot on an LAPD vehicle. It's the funniest thing that I've seen in the Times in a long time. I think every officer that breaks the law and parks illegally should get the boot from the police force. But our police captain doesn't have the guts to do anything about it. They just allow him to continue breaking the law on a daily basis.
Zuma Dog.
Yes, we do have a breaking news media alert. The information is now posted at lacitynews.com regarding a federal court order ruled against the city of Los Angeles yesterday, October 21st. To recap, 4.5 years ago, Zuma Dog was living a comfortable, happy life as a performer on Venice Beach, paying rent, living in a house, eating every day, not diagnosed by a county doctor as disabled, not under prescription medication to save my life. Everything was fine. I was not homeless. I was not sleeping on the sidewalk. You passed a law that I said was illegal. April 4th, 2006, I put it on the record. I was told the city of Los Angeles runs the city, and if you don't like it, sue. We sued. You lost. To repeat the top headlines, October 21st, a federal judge ruled against the city of Los Angeles, putting an injunction against their illegal Venice Beach ordinance. The sound ban has been injuncted. The lottery has been injuncted. The permit system has been injuncted. Free speech is now once again free in the city of Los Angeles. So Zuma Dog will be showing up whenever the F he wants, wherever the F he wants, and I will be singing AC/DC right in front of Linda Lux's window all day long. This is a major victory. The city of Los Angeles defeated in federal court Carmen Tutanich defeated by the Legalese Dream Team of Dowd Dog. Information posted at lacitynews.com. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, stick it, you elevator-wearing shoe chump.
Bruce Darian in the San Fernando Valley.
Council members, good afternoon, good morning. I spoke last week about the Malibu fiasco, and I wanted to touch on the point that President Obama is coming into Los Angeles to pick up money for the Democratic Party, particularly for Barbara Boxer and Jerry Brown. I want to take issue with this, that one of the reasons small communities like Bell are brought under the limelight there or under the spotlight for government corruption, and not that in Malibu, is that Malibu comes in with big money election time and fills the coffers of these particularly Democratic politicians that cover up massive government scandal, where the taxpayers here in Los Angeles have footed the bill on a 10-year contracting project in building Malibu Pier and have frauded the whole thing. These are Los Angeles contractors. Let me be clear here. Superior Gunite, a Los Angeles contractor, District 7 in Councilman Alacon's district. Okay? These people have falsified the documents, no bid contracting, and they have falsified and have cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. Barbara Boxer has been written to about this. Jerry Brown has covered it up as the Attorney General. Bill Lockyer covered it up as the Attorney General. It is a massive California scandal. It needs to be outed. You have the Los Angeles Times that have covered this up. They wrote many stories about the Malibu Pier, but they would not investigate it. They would not look at the hard documents and show that it is a sham. So this weekend, when President Obama comes in to get the money to pick up for to bring money for the Democrats, you can see that these are going to be for political favors. Government corruption needs to be outed on every level, and I hope that the voters here will vote against Barbara Boxer and Jerry Brown. Thank you.
That completes public comment for today. Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Item 4, called special for cards.
John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org. And I would like to say, for those watching, notice the city attorney is not making a fool of himself because the deputy city attorney, Dion, is not here. We have an excellent new city attorney that doesn't play games for Eric Garcetti. Notice how nobody has been interrupted by the deputy city attorney. So I'll now go to number 4 so I don't get interrupted. This is the rent escrow REAP account. We agree with everything that is in there. And Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org. I made a mistake. Meg Whitman's son assaulted and broke the foot
Mr. Walsh,
of his Mexican
on the subject matter only. Thank you. Mr. Zumadog.
Yes, and please restart my time. I want the same courtesy as the rest of the United States citizens that come here. And again, again, you're welcome to the United States of America as Zuma Dog and Dowd defeat Los Angeles in federal court. And now let's get on to some serious conflict of interest corruption in the city of Los Angeles. We're talking about the Los Angeles Housing Department and Assistant GM Roberto Adalpe. So he is in charge of the rent escrow program. So due to the fact that Roberto Adalpe, the assistant general manager of the rent escrow program, is under allegations of massive conflict of interest, he is in charge of these REAP programs. He is an outreach contractor.
This is about removing the property
has a law firm.
on South Maple Avenue.
What?
It's about removing the property. So let's
okay,
address
so I'm
to the
saying
subject.
that these properties should be removed immediately, and a friendly amendment to remove all properties off the REAP program due to the fact that Roberto Adalpe overseeing the program is accused of conflict of interest as discussed in this council chamber July 21st. Just ask Bernard Parks. 1 minute, thank you.
That's our last speaker on this matter. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 5, called special for cards.
Number 5, Matt Dowd.
Yes, trying not to get too heavily involved because I got a lot on my mind right now with settlement and everything with the city because we warned you. But this is a good one for the city, I think. Termination of rent reductions because the landlords have corrected the violations and only minor violations remain at the property. That's the interesting thing, and that's how I feel down at Venice Beach, too. Only minor violations remain now, but still they need to be corrected, but I'm approving this one. Let's kick this one through. Thank you, Greg Smith.
Azuma Dog. John Walsh.
One minute, John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org, emailing us at HollywoodDems, DEMS, at gmail.com, and twittering at HollywoodDems, DEMS. We 100% agree with the termination of rent reduction for these 101 and 103 units. They are now in compliance. You've done a very good job on this. And speaking of good jobs, I think we should all stand up and cheer Mr. Marburg and Mr. Dowd for their huge victory on behalf of the First Amendment and Judge Pregerson. Thank you.
On that matter, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 6, called special for cards.
Number 6, John Walsh. Matt Dowd.
Wow, how things have changed in the city of Los Angeles in just 24 hours. Here's another item I agree with, and I'll approve, and I'll give my recommendation for a unanimous vote from the City Council. Thank you also to John Walsh for the acknowledgement. Channel 35, this one's for, we're spending $262,000 to get some chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive-related equipment. And no, relax, we're not going to blow up the city because we run out of money. It's for LAPD and the fire department, for terrorists, and all kind of emergency equipment. And the reason I like it, we're getting to the good part, and I'm glad Dion's not here to cut me off for nothing. We're getting the money from Homeland Security grant program, so it looks like it's federal money. We're getting reimbursed, and I love that. It's my number one thing. Get the money and build a rail line from Long Beach. Let's get $5 billion for that. Let's go get it.
Bruce Darion in the San Fernando Valley. Mr. Darion in San Fernando Valley. Not there. That matters before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Mr. Smith, forthwith on that matter, please. Mr. Clerk. Next item, please.
Item 7, called special for cards.
Number 7, Zuma Dog.
Yes, I'd like to take a minute on this one just to say that I'm finding out as I dig more and more information is presented to me, that a lot of these things, like these economic development corporations, are merely nothing but an opportunity for council members to funnel money into these things, and then we find out that it's relatives and friends and cronies of the people that are getting the money and that are associated with these corporations. So I would like Wendy Gruhl to do an audit of any type of relationship. This is for the Economic Development Corporation. So let's talk about some of the things the city could do to help. They want to do historic economic development. Some of the things they can do is, yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo!
Mr. Dog, you're out of order with the loud voice. Mr. Dog, one more outburst, you'll be removed from the chambers. The matters before us, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 8 was called special for a substitute motion that has now been circulated.
Number 8. Mr. Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 11 called special for cards.
Number 11, John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Just point of order. As you know, I've mentioned that the Murphys fought in the Revolutionary War. They fought for my right to insult you. It is protected.
Mr. Walsh, the comment is 543, Fairfax. Stay on point, please. It's a lease approval.
Hollywood, the lease approval?
That's the item.
Yes. And we approve of the lease approval. And, you know, I'm going to come back here wearing a muzzle. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. The matter is now before us for a vote. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 13 called special for cards.
Number 13. John Walsh, number 13.
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org. Email us your documents, whistleblowers, at hollywooddems@gmail.com, and watch our Twitter account at HollywoodDems, Hollywood and then DEMS. And this is a Childhood Hunger Day resolution, and we certainly are 100% behind this. And this is the end of the day, except for one thing. While you were on item 3, Miss Perry was in the back giving her male friend a standing back rub in full view of everybody. He's over here right now. I'm sorry, you were out of order. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Zuma Dog, number 13.
Yes, this is an important item. Some could say it's the most important item. We're talking about Childhood Hunger Day, and childhood hunger also a lot of times relates to homelessness. So let me give some ideas right now on how we can reduce childhood hunger and raise awareness on Childhood Hunger Day. First of all, you need to protect the city treasury so that you can continue to provide jobs and continue to provide services that will keep people keep the city vibrant. Because when you do things like lose billions of dollars of pension money in shady Wall Street investments, well, then you have to lay people off. Furloughs, job loss. Then people become homeless. They can't feed their kids. Other things is the insane fees and taxes that you put on the residents, the parents of these kids suffering from hunger. Perhaps if you were able to operate efficiently as you're supposed to, you wouldn't have the need to hike and increase every fee from parking to the water to everything, to everything in the city. You keep on, taxing and raising fees because you're so inefficient. So first of all, I'd like to remind you, Zuma Dog, quality and productivity czar of Los Angeles, would like to say, please look into the 14 points of quality management so you can reduce waste, so you can continue to operate. And these are some of the things that the city of Los Angeles can do to reduce childhood hunger. Hold on to more of the money to operate the city. Take less of it and put it in your back pockets. Give less of it to your own family members and cronies. Become more efficient. Be less corrupt. Don't lose billions in pension. Don't hike fees up all over the place. And the massive fraud, waste, and abuse. Anyway, today's a triumphant day in Los Angeles, and I'd like to say, relating to Hunger Day with the kids, when I win my settlement money, I'm going to feed kids. Thank you.
Matt Dowd. And that is our last item today, colleagues.
All right, thank you. Get to close out the show on a good note. This one, of course, Childhood Hunger Day, but I got questions, of course. And, let me make the announcement for Channel 35 that Childhood Hunger Day is coming up in the city of Los Angeles. Oh wait, no, it was October 16. It's almost a week ago. That's my question for the performance of the city. How come Richard Alarcon gets his fireworks money for next year's
This
July
is Childhood
the 4th?
Hunger Day,
No, but
Mr. Dowd.
Talking about
It's
how
about Childhood Hunger Day, not fireworks.
See, you're just not allowed to cut people off because you think that I'm using it to create a point, and this is it. Why is this a week late when it's Childhood Hunger Day, a very important item? Muy importante, Childhood Hunger Day, and you've got it a week late. So that's making me upset now, and I was being good, and I was being nice because I won an injunction, and you could have just let me be nice and say what I have to say because it's public comment on childhood hunger. But as soon as you interrupt me, it makes me upset. See, and I don't want to be this guy. I've got kids. I don't want to see them hungry. You don't want to see them hungry. It's an important thing. Just tell me why you have this one a week late and one for stupid fireworks at a dam next year gets a 12-month head start on everything else on the agenda. Anyway, it's wide open at Venice Beach. Matt Dowd, Channel 35, come and see me in the weekend. Zoom a dog, Matt Dowd. Thank you.
That item is before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Mr. Clerk, next item.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Posted and referred.
Desk is clear.
Are there any announcements, colleagues? Announcements? Seeing none? Seeing some? No announcements. Adjourning motions? Adjourning motions, colleagues? Ms. Hahn, adjourning motion?
I think we want to adjourn in the memory of Senator Oropeza, but
All
I
right,
think
so all please stand. All please
Herb
stand.
Wesson
Adjourning
wanted
motions,
to,
Ms. Hahn.
Are there any others? Is Herb Wesson here? Because I know he wanted to start it. Okay. Richard, would you like to start on Jenny?
Mr. Alarcon for
Okay.
Ms. Hahn for Senator Oropeza.
Okay, thank you. I want us to adjourn today. It's a very sad adjournment in the memory of our wonderful state senator, Jenny Oropeza. Many of us, I think, have worked with her. Many of us consider her a friend. She certainly was taken from us way too soon. I believe she was 52 years old. And she had such a great career in public service. It reminds me a little bit of Congresswoman Watson. I mean, she started as student body president at Cal State University Long Beach. She was appointed to CSU's Board of Trustees. She served on the Long Beach School District Board from 1988 to 1992. She was the first Latina on the Long Beach City Council from 1994 to 2000. She was on the MTA board from 1996 to 2000. She was elected to the Assembly in 2000 and chaired the Budget Committee and later chaired the Transportation Committee. And in 2006, she got 62% of the vote to win the election to the 28th Senate District. She has been such an advocate for issues at the airport in terms of passenger convenience and safety. But I think a lot of what has been written about her in the last couple of days and what her own Chief of Staff, Sharon Weitzman, said that it was the cancer that Jenny got, which later she was in remission from, that really changed her focus. She began to really focus on health issues, particularly in the harbor area, and began to understand how deadly the pollution was from the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles, and really began to focus her agenda on health issues. She was criticized some, but it ended up, the bill was passed that would ban folks from smoking inside a car if there were toddlers in the car. So she really began to understand what smoking did, what pollution did, particularly on the young and the elderly. And she became, as her Chief of Staff said, more impatient in her last few years. I think when you have a life-threatening illness like cancer, you begin to understand that you've got to move quickly, and you've really, if you want to make a difference, you have to push hard to get bills passed. She really was a great fighter, a great woman. She was a good role model, I think, for a lot of women who want to go into public service. And you knew if Jenny was on your side, that was a fight that you wanted to be in with her. That was a battle that ultimately probably would get won. So we will miss Jenny Oropeza, but certainly even in her short life, I think what she accomplished will be long-lasting, and her legacy is really an important one in policy for the state of California.
Mr. Ellicott?
Yeah, Jenny was a very dear personal friend. I met her when I was a city council member in the early 90s, and she was a city council member in Long Beach. I know that Mr. Wesson really wanted to be here. She was one of his stalwarts when he became speaker, and she served under him with tremendous distinction. And I can tell you that Janice has it very right. Jenny was somebody you did not want to fight against because she had more ways to win than most people do. For my part, let me just say that I ran for a position at the National League of Cities, and Jenny was my campaign manager. She was the one that made sure that the people showed up to vote, and in fact, I did win that position. And it was because of Jenny, because I was very new to the National League of Cities, and I didn't know very many people, and I didn't even know who to reach out to. So she went and scrambled up the votes and won. I can tell you that she was very passionate about all issues relating to social responsibility and civil rights. She was very proud of the fact that she was the first Latina elected to the Long Beach City Council and then to the Assembly in that area. Just a tremendous fighter for the areas she served. One thing that most people don't know is that she was from Los Angeles. She grew up, I believe, over in either Mr. Huizar's district or Mr. Reyes's district. I don't know exactly where. It's amazing that 5 of us actually served with her in the state legislature, and would probably all say the same thing. Even if I can tell you that relationships mean a lot in politics, particularly in Sacramento. But if you could not explain your legislation to Jenny in a way that she could be passionate about it and truly believe in it, you had a fight on your hands. You could not just go to her and say, hey, you're my buddy, remember the League of Cities, we got to work together. No way. She'd look at you and say, that was then, this is now, what do you want, what is it you've got, and tell me why it's good for the people of California. That's the kind of person Jenny was, and I wish more politicians would use that example in making the decisions about how to vote. She's a tremendous woman. She did some tremendous things for the Southern California area, and she was my dear friend. I spoke to her about a month ago. It was obvious to me that she was not doing well, but she was a fighter, and I think most people who would be afflicted with her illness would have passed many years ago. That's just the way Jenny was.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I had the pleasure and the honor to call Jenny a friend and also a colleague, as her and I served together in the State Assembly. But as I think of Jenny and her battling this illness and finally succumbing to it, I remember a mutual friend of both Jenny and myself, and you, Richard, and many of us, is Marco Antonio Fireball, the former late assemblyman who represented parts of Los Angeles. He was a fighter too. Unfortunately, they faced a similar fate of passing on way too young, yet at the same time they made their mark not only in the legislature but in the state of California with landmark legislation that benefits children, that benefits people when it comes to health care matters, that benefits the kind of people that every single one of us say that we're elected to represent.
those people who don't speak up very often, but those people who really need someone to be there for them and to legislate for them and fight for them. And that's exactly who Jenny was, as Councilmember Alarcon described, very tough, very friendly, very appropriately there for the right reasons. So, again, it's with great sadness that we adjourn in the memory of the late Senator Jenny Oropesa.
Mr. Huizar.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And Mr. Cardenas, I thought about the same thing, too. And the way I got to know Jenny was through my good friend Marco Antonio Faraban. They both left us way too soon, two individuals who did so much for the state of California and for those who didn't always have a voice at the table. And for Ms. Oropesa, she was a champion for those of us working on developing a surplus food policy here in the city of Los Angeles. She was advocating for that at the state level. And I've talked to some of the individuals involved in the struggle, and we will continue her legacy of making sure that people who go hungry, who don't have enough on their food, on their table to eat, we will continue to fight on working through her name to make sure that we pass more legislation throughout the state so that millions, tons and millions of food do not go to waste each year.
Mr. Koretz?
Well, as it was mentioned by others, I got to serve with Jenny in the legislature for 6 years in the state assembly, and Marco Farabaugh, and I had the chance to pick up a piece of legislation that was mentioned that he originally did to ban smoking in cars with children. I picked that up not only because I've been involved in smoking issues for many years, but mostly as something, as a way to honor Marco, and it pained me greatly that I picked it up in my last term and wasn't able to get it passed and was term limited out. But I was honored that Jenny picked up that legislation, and to show her effectiveness, it was a very difficult bill, and she was the only one that could actually get it passed, which I greatly appreciated. My interactions with her were wonderful. I just found her to be an absolute sweetheart, although sometimes she would be tough on the actual policy, but she was a wonderful person to work with. I'm sad that I hadn't been in touch with her in recent months and didn't realize that she had once again become this ill, but she fought major illnesses for a number of years. Certainly one of the saddest things that I've heard, I don't know, it was a very unfortunate surprise. But all of us who knew her, loved her, and respected her, and greatly appreciate all of her accomplishments and good work.
And Mr. Rosendahl?
Thank you, Mr. President. As I've said before, one of the joys of this political job for me is meeting new people and making new friends. Jenny Oropesa was one of them. She came to me when she wanted to run for state senate, and I interviewed both candidates, George Nakano and Jenny Oropesa. And what I saw was an incredibly honest, strong, independent woman, a person that stands up for what she believes in and fights. And, I supported her, I did a handbill with her, and she won. She didn't win by much, but she won. We had one big issue that hit us real hard, which was the green line. Here we had this Measure R going through, and they didn't put the green line in it, and I couldn't believe it. It was a no-brainer to put the green line in. Not only does it belong in the airport, it belongs down in the South Bay, and it needs to take the people from the South Bay up north rather than the congested streets. Well, she sat on the Appropriations Committee, and she sat on it, and she said, if they don't put the green line in, I'm going to kill it in the committee. And boy, my phones were ringing off the hook from all the big shots regarding that legislation. And she held firm and strong, and the green line got in that bill. We, the people, voted on it in 2008, Measure R, and the green line is in it. So that kind of leadership, and she went against a lot of odds. She was tough, she was strong, she was independent. And I knew of her situation. It's been going on for years. And in her cancer reality, which so many people have these days, she just fought that disease and continued to work and say, the disease isn't me, I'm me, and kept fighting and fighting and fighting to the very end. And she was a great lady, and may she rest in peace. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes?
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, I didn't know Jenny as well as you have articulated. I was very fortunate as a staff person. I did have the opportunity to engage her, and as a candidate, when it was rather bleak at a point, we spoke, and she just told me, "Don't give up, follow your heart, stay strong. Good things could happen," and very genuine. And I never forgot that conversation. And to hear this is just shocking.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. I personally met, we used to call her Jenny O when she was a Long Beach council member, Independent Cities Association. She'd attend those meetings, and I remember her nickname was Jenny O, and she was the lady who would be very involved in the politics in independent cities, and I was the representative from the city council, new to politics, and she was always inspiring and enlightening. But I remember that nickname that was attached, Jenny O, and just a wonderful lady, and her sad passing is going to be affected by a lot of people. Jensen?
I just want to make sure that we send out our sympathies to her husband, Tom Mullins, and let him know that his loss is really a loss for so many of us, and certainly all the people of California.
May she rest in peace. Any other attorney motions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you. This concludes our meeting for the City Council.